What dinosaur left South America's warmth to lie in the icy Arctic Circle and rule the polar ice for 3 million years? Covered in thick fur, it endured freezing cold. Its 0.6 m skull had dagger-like teeth. Its bite crushed a lion's. One bite could snap a Pachyrhinosaurus's spine, crushing its bone armor. The prey couldn't even scream before becoming a frozen feast. This is Nanuqsaurus, a T-Rex cousin, also called the Pygmy T-Rex. It alone ruled this harsh hunting ground. In 2006, Anthony Fiorillo was about to wrap up at the Kikaktegasik quarry when he found basketball-sized rocks with tiny bone fragments embedded in them. He chipped them off and took them, thinking they were small dinosaur remains. No one imagined these pieces would, 8 years later, rewrite our understanding of Arctic dinosaurs. They weren't small remains, but a new top predator frozen for 70 million years. Back at the Perot Museum in Dallas, paleontologist Ronald Tykowski used an airpen lysurgeon, slowly removing the rock over years. When the upper jaw was exposed, he gasped. The clear bone sutures showed it was an adult. Were smaller than southern tyrannosaurs. Could the Arctic only produce a pygmy T-Rex? In 2014, Fiorillo and Tykowski named this new species, combining Nanuk, the Inuit for polar bear, with the Greek for lizard, sauros. They named it Nanuqsaurus, the polar bear lizard. Imagine a creature like T-Rex, living deep in the Arctic Circle, feathered, roaming the dark polar night. This tyrannosaur image came to life. But then, a bigger mystery emerged. How big was it? Scientists initially estimated from fragments that Nanuqsaurus was 5 to 6 meters long, weighing 500 to 900 kilograms, compared to T-Rex's 12 meters and 8 tons. It was a runt. So, a seemingly logical theory was born: polar dwarfism. The Arctic had little food, long winters, so large predators had to shrink to survive. The Feathery seemed perfect, but the beauty of science is, it always proves you wrong. After 2019, more complete Nanuqsaurus fossils were dug up from Alaska's permafrost. Paleontologists combined new and old fossils, reassembling them, and found an awkward truth. The small one was likely just a juvenile. When adult data was added to the model, Nanuqsaurus's size estimate increased. It was 7 to 9 meters long, weighing over a ton. That's about the size of the famous Albertosaurus, a medium-sized tyrannosaur, not a dwarf. But how did it rule the Arctic? After all, there were months of polar night, freezing cold and endless darkness. Could it see in the dark? Let's start with its terrifying eyes. Nanuqsaurus's skull shows forward-facing eye sockets, meaning excellent binocular vision. The fields of view overlapped, allowing precise distance judgment. That's standard for any predator. The real challenge was the polar night. In the late Cretaceous, Alaska was at 80-85 degree N latitude. That meant 2 to 3 continuous months when the sun never rose. Complete darkness, you couldn't see your hand. Hunting in such conditions required powerful eyes. 2 exciting hypotheses exist. Hypothesis 1. Nanuqsaurus evolved night vision, like owls or cats. Large corneas, dense light-sensitive cells, even a reflective layer, to enhance low-light vision. If true, seeing in the polar night would be like wearing night vision. Hypothesis 2. It didn't need night vision. It might have migrated seasonally, following sunlight south before the polar night, and returning in spring. Or it hibernated, relying on keen smell and hearing, sleeping through the winter. Which is correct? No one knows yet. But that's the beauty of science. It drives us to find answers. Besides its eyes, Nanuqsaurus had an even cooler feature: feathers. You might ask, we haven't found feather fossils, so why say it had feathers? Great question. The evidence is indirect but strong. In the Tyrannosaur family, several members have feather fossils, like DeLong and Uteranus, based on phylogenetic bracketing. If close relatives had feathers, Nanuqsaurus likely did too. Plus, the late Cretaceous Arctic had an average temperature of only 6 to 10 degrees Celsius, with winter temperatures below 0 degrees Celsius. A warm-blooded dinosaur without insulation couldn't maintain body heat in winter. Feathers are the lightest, most efficient down jackets. So why no feather impressions? Alaska's freeze-thaw cycles destroy soft tissue preservation. Feathers are organic and decayed over millions of years of ice and fire. So, without direct evidence, paleontologists are certain Nanuqsaurus was feathered. In winter, they might be white for snow camouflage. In summer, it might molt or keep decorative colored feathers for courtship. Imagine an 8-meter, white-feathered tyrannosaur moving silently in the polar night. It's possibly night vision eyes fixed on its dinner. Nanuqsaurus was the top Arctic predator, with no natural enemies. Its menu was rich. Pachyrhinosaurus, Edmontosaurus, all large herbivores. Hunting giants wasn't just brute force. It was a battle of patience. Pachyrhinosaurus was a ceratopsian, 6 to 7 meters long, with a head of thick bone plates and a large frill. More importantly, they lived in herds. Imagine a rhino with horns, but dozens moving together. Nanuqsaurus used the polar night, lurking in shadows along riverbanks or canyons, where Pachyrhinosaurus herds passed, motionless. It waited hours or even days. What for? The old, sick, or young, stragglers, or a distracted one. Once a target was isolated, Nanuqsaurus would launch a burst. Its leg bones show it wasn't a long-distance runner, but fast over a few steps. With its wide skull and bite force, it would bite the Pachyrhinosaurus's neck, avoiding the thick facial bones, directly cutting the windpipe or tearing the carotid artery. The fight ended in seconds. There was also an intelligent dinosaur. That wasn't just prey for Nanuqsaurus, but a competitor, Troodon. Troodon, 2 to 3 meters long, it had a relatively large brain, considered quite smart, and likely night vision too. Troodon would steal Nanuqsaurus's eggs and attack its young. For Nanuqsaurus, killing Troodon eliminated a competitor and protecting its offspring. And this fight was no contest. Nanuqsaurus didn't need complex strategies. It just had to find Troodon's nests or resting spots in the polar night, then crush them with its size. 8 meters versus 3 meters. Lie a truck hitting a bike. Troodon's intelligence was useless against such a power gap. Nanuqsaurus wouldn't waste time chasing. It would stomp nests, eating them all. That's the privilege of the top predator. Now, you might wonder, it's so cold and dark, prey is so hard to catch. Were Nanuqsaurus's ancestors crazy to come to the Arctic? The answer, they were very smart. In the mid-latitudes of the Cretaceous, Tyrannosaur competition was fierce. Tarbosaurus, Zuchingtyrannus, Gorgosaurus, all were tough, with limited food and territory. No one had it easy, but the Arctic, though harsh, had very few competitors. If you could handle the cold and dark. The whole Arctic Circle was private. Summer daylight made plants grow wildly. Pachyrhinosaurus herds swarmed in. That was Nanuqsaurus's feast season. They ate ravenously in summer, storing fat. They survived winter with feathers. So this wasn't a simple migration to the Arctic, it was a long colonization. 70 million years later, standing on Alaska's permafrost, holding a Nanuqsaurus bone fragment, we see not just a dinosaur's remains, a miracle of life in extreme environments. Polar night, cold, food scarcity, death traps for most life. But for Nanuqsaurus, evolutionary accelerators. With feathers, senses, and strength, it ruled a world without rivals. Now, the Arctic is warming. Permafrost is melting. And more Nanuqsaurus fossils emerge. But its successor, the polar bear, faces a crisis as ice disappears. Tens of millions of years ago, Nanuqsaurus answered nature's challenge. Today, how will we protect this icy world?